All right, let's jump right in. We are going to tackle one of the absolute biggest headaches in a multi-cloud world, how to create a single, unified service discovery system. Seriously, if you can crack this nut, you've pretty much found the holy grail of modern infrastructure. So just for a few minutes, I want you to put on your architect hat. You're the senior multi-cloud architect. The company has gone all in on using multiple clouds. And guess what? It's your job to make it all play nice together. Seamlessly. No pressure or anything. So yeah, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to unify the clouds. Make them act like one giant, cohesive platform. It's a huge task, right? So the big question we're digging into is, how in the world do you actually pull that off? Okay, before we can solve anything, we have to really understand the problem. Think of it like a multi-cloud maze. Each cloud provider, AWS, Azure, GCP, they give you these incredible powers, but they also create these isolated, digital islands. And trying to get from one island to another, that's the real challenge. Let's look at our first island, AWS. You've got services running there, they're powerful, they're scalable, fantastic. But they're living in their own little AWS world. They can talk to each other just fine with all the native tools, but to anyone outside that ecosystem, it's basically a black box. Then over here, you've got your Azure Island, just as capable with its own amazing suite of services. The problem is, those services have absolutely no idea that their neighbors over in AWS even exist. It's like having two giant bustling cities right next to each other, but with zero roads connecting them. And of course, to complete the picture, there's your GCP island. It's pushing the envelope with all sorts of cool, cutting-edge tech. But again, it's all trapped behind its own garden walls. This separation just creates so much complexity, so much redundancy, and it's a huge roadblock to building truly integrated apps. So, the big question is, how do we get off these islands? This brings us to what I like to call the unification quest. Your mission isn't just to manage these separate little kingdoms, it's to actually weave them together into a single, seamless multi-cloud fabric. And here it is. This is the core objective, straight from the strategy document. Federate service discovery. Enable cross-cloud service calls. Let's put that in plain English. It means a service running on AWS needs to be able to find and talk to a service on Azure as if it were sitting right next to it. That's the end game. Now, to pull off a quest this big, every good architect needs the right toolkit. So we're going to need to get our heads around a couple of really fundamental concepts. These are the building blocks for our entire solution. Let's break them down. First up, service discovery. At its core, this is basically the phone book for all your services. So instead of hard-coding IP addresses, which is a huge no-no, services can automatically register themselves in a central directory, and other services can just look them up by name. This is what makes modern microservice architectures even possible. Now, this is where things get really cool. We add our next tool, federation. So if service discovery is the phone book for one cloud, federation is the magic that takes the phone books from AWS, Azure, and GCP and merges them into one master directory that every service, everywhere, can use. This is how we build the bridge between our islands. So what are these individual phone books we're talking about? Well, we're working with the native tools that each cloud provider gives you. Over in AWS, that's Cloud Map. In Azure, it's Service Fabric. And for GCP, you've got Service Directory. Our whole goal is to take these three completely separate systems and make them act as one. All right, we know our mission and we have our tools. So now, let's get to the blueprint. It's time to actually see how we build this thing. We are going to construct what I call the federation bridge that finally connects all of our cloud islands. So at a high level, the process looks something like this. First, you set up the native service discovery within each cloud. That's step one. Step two, you deploy a centralized, cloud-agnostic federation layer. A tool like HashiCorp Console is a great example here, mainly because it's built to speak the language of all three cloud providers. And then finally, step three, this layer's whole job is to constantly sync those registries, creating that master phone book we talked about. This makes sure every cloud knows about every service, no matter where it lives. Okay, so you've done it. The quest is complete. The bridge is built. What does this new world actually look like? What's the big payoff for all this heavy lifting and architectural work? The transformation is just night and day. We go from that complicated, confusing maze to a single unified world, All those brittle manual configurations get replaced by automated, intelligent calls between clouds. We're basically trading in all that crazy architectural complexity for beautifully simplified communication. And this is really why it all matters so much. You've hit the main goal, seamless calls between clouds. Check. You get a single pane of glass to see your entire service fleet. Awesome. But the real game changer here is resilience. If one cloud provider has a bad day, you can dynamically and automatically route traffic to your services in another cloud. Now that is true multi-cloud power. And with that, your mission is complete. You took 3 totally separate, powerful, but disconnected environments, and you forged them into one single, cohesive platform. Your multi-cloud environment is now truly one. Look, this is a massive architectural win, but it's not the end of the story. Not even close. It's really the beginning of a whole new chapter. So the question isn't, how do we unify the clouds anymore? The real question is, now that they're one, what amazing things are you going to build next?